Hey, it's Mike here, and today I want to cover a recent news story in which a guy secretly gave his vegan girlfriend dairy to prove that nothing bad would happen like she thought. And the result? Well, she got what he described as pretty severe acne. So of course we're going to look further at the details of this study, and then because it's an anecdote, we're going to have to go and look at the research on this topic on the connection between dairy and acne. All right, let's go. So there were a couple little news write-ups about this story, and I have to say it is traced back to just a Reddit post, so this isn't like anybody was fully interviewed or anything like that, but even with that, the story is pretty compelling. And again, because it's an anecdote, I don't think that this title is correct in saying that it proves anything, but combine that with the research on hormones and other mechanisms, and the connection is pretty strong. So let's look at the original post on the Today I Effed Up subreddit, which was actually deleted. The guy deleted his original post, but thankfully people recorded it. It starts with, I effed up by accidentally giving my girlfriend acne. He's a 24-year-old male, she's a 26-year-old female. I've been dating my girlfriend for 3 years. A while before I met her, she went vegan basically for health reasons. Mostly, she swears that it cleared up her skin. From pictures, it seems she went from really gnarly acne to very clear skin. Yes, some people are super lucky. Just going vegan alone just blasts their acne away. And I will say mine got a lot better. Otherwise, I may have never started this YouTube channel, but I still had to knock out a few more processed foods to get where I am now, which is not invincible, but a heck of a lot better. Okay, he continues with, now I thought this might be due to her age. Teenagers get acne and it goes away, yeah. Hers just went away a bit late. Now that we're living together, I've been getting tired of all the vegan food. I do the grocery shopping, but she does all the cooking. She's a great cook, but sometimes a man just needs some mac and cheese with cut up hot dogs. Sometimes to be a real man, you just need some wieners. I couldn't resist. I guarantee this guy eats meat like 3 times a week at restaurants anyway and forgets about it. Whatever, I'm just giving him crap. Let's keep going. So I thought I would prove to her that the whole dairy gives me acne thing is in her head. For the past 2 months, I've been emptying the same soy creamer container and filling it with dairy creamer. I was gonna do a big reveal like, surprise, you can eat whatever you want. The post is not over, but I just wanna take a moment and realize how crappy of a boyfriend or person this guy is, goes against her back and feeds her a food that he knows that she doesn't want. That's not consensual, although it's also not consensual to take milk from cows or take their calves away, which happens because you need to keep impregnating these cows so that they keep producing milk. Anyway, I have to say it would be an interesting study design because there is an intervention without the person knowing that the intervention is happening, so there's no sort of placebo effect going on there. In other words, if you're switching somebody to eating a food that they were very afraid to eat, you could possibly have a placebo-based reaction. But again, this is one person, it's not a study, and so he was feeding her real dairy, real cow's milk for a while, and the result, he says, was, quote, but she's been wearing makeup both in and out of the house lately, and last night I saw her bare face for the first time in a while, and it is bad. Like insects about to hatch out of her face bad. So I figure I'll just quietly throw out the dairy and her skin will go back to normal. I feel bad, but on the other hand, I was doing it for her own good. I know, bro, I think you're doing it for your own good. And I would say if I was his girlfriend and found out about this, I would take the remaining cow's milk in the fridge, pour it over his head, dump it over his head, and then dump him. But it's clear that he is now convinced that yes, in fact, dairy did give her acne, does in general give her acne. And so at least he learned that lesson. But looking at this scientifically, there could have been something else that was triggering her acne throughout the same period of time, though statistically it might have been pretty unlikely based off the time frame. But let's look to the literature to see if this is supported, that dairy acne connection. This study found an increased rate of acne in adolescent girls with more milk consumption, and yes, that ended at like 15 years and she's in her 20s, but still noteworthy. Here's another study that was pretty similar and had a similar conclusion. They even speculated about the cause. Quote, we found a positive association with acne for intake of total milk and skim milk. We hypothesized that the association with milk may be because of the presence of hormones and bioactive molecules in milk. But I want to move on to a more relevant, more recent 2018 study which looked at people within her age range. This study looked at 7 to 30-year-olds and found that the glass every day gave you a 40% increased odds of having acne. Ironically, they found that yogurt, the healthy dairy champion, was actually the most associated with acne of any dairy products that they looked at. Obviously, I have to mention that this is association, it's correlation, not causation, but do the researchers explore any potential causes? Once again, yes. Quote, sebum production can be induced by insulin-like growth factor 1 and androgen. So the oil on your face can be stimulated by not just insulin-like growth factor, but also sex hormones. We've talked about insulin-like growth factor 1 a lot. It's a insulin-like molecule that helps your body grow, and we don't always want things to grow. Dairy raises IGF-1, as this study mentions, and increased IGF-1 can mean an overdriving of your sebaceous gland. So the actual part of your face that makes that oil, that can become bigger. And as this study mentioned, giving your sebum cells IGF-1 in a petri dish can increase not just inflammation, but also that sebum production. And everybody knows that sebum, that oiliness, can contribute to acne. Too much sebum can mess up your facial microbiome. It can trap dead skin cells, create sort of anaerobic, low oxygen environments in your pores, create inflammation, create zits, and so forth. And yeah, acne is inflammation, so the last thing we want is IGF-1 increasing inflammation on our face. Cow juice equals face juice. Don't forget it. And to further support this, this study mentions that IGF-1 reducing drugs may actually be a good treatment for reducing acne. And the final kicker, especially relevant for this girl, vegans have lower levels of IGF-1 on average compared to people that eat meat from this study. And this is very important because IGF-1 might not just potentially be fueling acne, but it could also be fueling cancer. It plays a role in every stage of cancer growth and spreading. Back to those androgens, dairy also manipulates those sex hormones. This study gave people milk, and it statistically significantly changed various hormones. It lowered testosterone in both sexes, and it increased estrone, a type of estrogen. One interesting aspect worth noting is that there was still an association for skim milk, but skim milk appears to have lower levels of sex hormones, for example, because they kind of get taken out with the fat. So it's worth speculating that perhaps it's even certain animal proteins alone that can be triggering acne. You know, whether it's the amino acid profile that raises IGF-1 through maybe certain amino acids like leucine, or that it's actually some type of immune response, inflammatory response to certain proteins themselves, like casein. We know casein can be broken down into casomorphin, which is implicated in a lot of autoimmune diseases like type 1 diabetes, but it's unclear that this could be a connection for your face. So whether it's that or the hormones, whether it's IGF-1 or sex hormones, clearly there's a connection here. And so there's a pretty good case that, yeah, this anecdote of this girl is backed pretty well by science. So the thought that makes me most frustrated about this whole situation is that this girl could be sitting there somewhere thinking, oh man, my vegan diet isn't working for my acne anymore. Maybe I should quit my vegan diet like some of these other people, even though the reality is she was secretly being fed cow's milk by her douchey boyfriend. And I'm definitely not here to say that vegans never get acne. There's definitely some other causes of acne, and because of that, stay tuned for my upcoming video, which will be something like 5 strategies to fight acne on a vegan diet. I don't know what it's gonna actually be called, but something like that. Also, sometime in the near future, I will be starting Mike the Vegan's email knowledge blast or something like that, because A, I know a lot of people can't always watch a video and want something to read, and B, there's things I want to say and talk about that might not be the best to make a video out of, if that makes sense. And I know myself, these will definitely be pretty occasional emails. I won't send you too many emails, and also, I will not be giving your email to anybody without your consent. That's totally not a cool thing to do, and so just click below if you want to get on that list. Final words on this dude who gave his girlfriend milk. Yeah, he's a total douche, and if you ever see anybody doing anything like this, definitely call them out for it. I hope this girl finds out, dumps this guy, and gets a really hot vegan boyfriend. All right, that's it. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.